Hey you guys, it's me Gemstone, and I'm gonna be doing this is a weekly reading, and I'm gonna be using the Ask Your Guides deck. I used it last time in combination with the butterfly deck, but today I'm just using the Ask Your Guides deck by itself by Sonia Kashuk. And I also bought a book by her, which is what Souls and Soul Purpose, something like that. I actually bought it today and I can't remember the name of it. I have it downstairs. So that will be an interesting read. But her guidebook for this deck seems to be pretty good. I like the meanings that I've come across so far, but I still haven't read like this little guidebook like all the way through. But I feel like it's worth a read, so I'm gonna have to make time for that. So I'm just shuffling up the deck, and this is a general reading for the 22nd through to the 29th. So let's see what shows up for us. Okay, 22nd to 29th reading. Let's see what shows up. We have self-control. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Self-control with rest. And the next one is competition. And the card underneath is priorities. So what I'm kind of feeling with these cards and with the priority card coming underneath is it could be saying that this is a week where we have to think about how we spend money, or think about how we spend our time, or think about how we can make sure that everything in our lives, all the needs that we have, are actually being taken care of. I kind of feel like it could be saying to us there might be certain things in our life that's slipping or just isn't going, or we're not managing things as well as we could be. And I think that the cards are kind of trying to tell us that this is a week where we kind of have to think about that, think about how we can reorganize ourselves in what we're doing. The self-control card is an interesting one because I feel like it's saying that especially with the pose that you see this person is doing like in the cards, self-control basically means not being reactionary, or not being able to compose yourself in certain situations. Like for instance, somebody may make you angry and you might lash out and decide, okay, if that person insults me, I'm going to insult them. Or for instance, if somebody does something to hurt my feelings, I feel like I have to do something in response. Or sometimes, even if you're not trying to seek revenge, sometimes it's just a case of we can we don't handle it in the best way we could be, because we might be too in our emotions. And let's be honest, sometimes the ego shows up and we feel like, how dare this person speak to me this way, or how dare this person hurt me, or do something that I don't feel is right. But what it's saying is that you have to be able to understand that somebody outside of you cannot control you. Only if you allow them to. Only if you allow, let's say, something to get to you, will it get to you, whether that's a comment or something that was done. So we have to understand that, our emotions and the way we choose to see things, that's coming from our perspective. That's so your reaction should not depend on what somebody else does to you. It should more depend on whether you decide, okay, is that the right reaction for me to um come out with? Is it wrong? Like, what is the best way for me to handle certain situations? A really good way to explain this is in the book that I was reading, the Soul Shift book, by Barbara DeAngelis. She talks about situations that expand you and situations that contract you. And when she means contract you, she means situations that don't make you feel good, situations that don't honor your highest well-being. Or situations that expand you are good situations, things that make you grow, things that make you feel whole, things that connect you with your higher self and higher purpose. And so to me, it's sort of saying that we have to kind of think about those things, think about what expands us and what also contracts us. Another thing I'm getting with this self-control card is it's about being at peace. And that's something that I've definitely come to really take on board in my spiritual journey right now at this point, that it doesn't matter what goes around me, I can still find peace within myself. And that's where the self-control comes from. Self-control means that you have the ability to be disciplined, and you have the ability, again, not to come out of character, and to deal with things in a more appropriate way. So I think that's what this card is also speaking of. And also self-control in terms of not overindulging in things as well. So that could be anything. That could be overindulging in food, being on the internet constantly, was whatever aspect of your life seems to be taking up a whole bunch of your life, or has kind of, become off kilter in a way. It's kind of saying you kind of have to analyze that. Now, this card is rest. And what this is kind of telling me is that after the self-control card, having the rest card could be saying maybe you need to take a break from certain environments and certain situations. I also have this feeling, and this is just a word that literally came into my mind right now, and the word was obsession. So it could be saying that maybe if you find that you are becoming a bit overly obsessed with certain things, it's telling you you have to take a break from those things as well. But what I see with the rest card is that it's saying in the middle of the week that you have to try to find that aspect of things, even if it's not necessarily, if you don't have the opportunity to maybe, sleep in the middle of the week, because middle of the week is when we're usually working. It's just kind of saying take it more easy in the middle of the week, or try to find more time to maybe go to bed a bit earlier, or just do something that can kind of bring you a bit down and make you feel calmer, even if that's meditation, even if that's prayer, even if it's just listening to relaxing music. All of those things can also have a good effect on you and on your mood and everything else as well. And then, it's funnily enough, the card that follows that is competition. And this card seems to have such a different feel to the other cards, because where I feel that the other cards are kind of telling us, to kind of, okay, do things in a certain way, the competition card is almost talking about more, it's more of like a fiery energy I'm feeling from that card. And what I'm kind of seeing is that I think it's kind of saying be careful of certain ways that you can be in competition with other people. I almost feel like when I look at this card, you see there's like these two people and they're in like a tug of war, and it's saying be careful of confrontation with other people, and be careful that your determination towards something doesn't become unhealthy. That's kind of what I see as well. Again, be careful of the people that you are around. Some people may be very maybe they want to compare themselves to you, maybe they want to do something, or feel better than you in some kind of way. But I think that these cards are basically saying you're more mature than this other person. Like, be careful that you're not lowering yourself to standards that are really beneath you in dealing with certain situations. And also that sometimes, even if you're in a position where you do have to compete with somebody else, like maybe this is a work situation where you have to compete, maybe you're even into sports or something and you need to compete, there's a way of doing things. Like, there's good sportsmanship and there's bad sportsmanship. Either way, you're competing, but it's like, what is the manner in which you do it, and what's the attitude that you bring, or the attitude that you have when you're doing it. So I just feel like that kind of is what the cards are talking about. And then priorities is with this person walking away, it's kind of saying that maybe you do have to walk away from certain situations that aren't the best for you. You can see this person has left this box of stuff there and they're just heading off. And so it's kind of making me think that maybe that box of stuff wasn't necessary to this person anymore. It almost looks like they've cleaned out their closet and put everything in a box and they've just left it there. And so I feel like it's kind of saying certain environments or certain situations for you may have to be left behind in order for you to properly prioritize your life and to really do what is important at this time. So do bear that in mind. What is important for you in your life right now? What needs to be taken care of? What is the main thing that needs to be addressed? Because I think that the cards are basically saying that there's certain things that maybe you need to focus your attention on that aren't really getting your attention as they should. So yes, peace and many blessings to you guys. I'll be seeing you. Bye.